Welcome back to the garage, guys. Thanks for tuning in. As you can see, I did survive surgery, but I do have a bit of a handicap here on this right side currently. So the wife's actually forcing me to take a couple of weeks off from the garage. I told her I could build engines with one hand. I got the look. So I'm taking a couple of weeks off. But before I went down for surgery, I actually did a couple of videos for you guys with some projects around the garage. This video is actually one I haven't done in a while. I got the big block Lightning out. Had some issues I've been avoiding repairing. I figured I better fix it before I go down for surgery because who knows how long it may be before I could fix it again. So this is me and that diagnostic dilemma. I take you guys along for the video, so I hope you like it. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to the garage, guys. Thanks for tuning in. As you can see, we are in the big block Lightning and we have a little bit of an issue. She's a little bit sick, so it has been running a little hot on the gauge. I haven't actually temped it with my infrared, but something's going on with it for sure. So we're gonna do some stuff and check that out next. For those of you that haven't seen this truck, this is a 97 F-150. It does have a stick shift out of an F-450. This is a ZF5 transmission. And my favorite part, what's under the hood. So I took this engine out of a F350. It was actually a U-Haul truck. I painted it purple and I stuck it over in this half ton. And actually it's been doing really well up until this point. So what the truck is doing is when I'm driving it down the road, it'll start to get hot and I'll back off a little bit. And I've actually was playing with it because I've been driving the truck still with this problem, but if I back off the RPM, if I shift it early, keep the RPMs low, the truck seems to stay cool. Problem is, eventually it does get low enough on coolant where I'm getting air pockets, my radiator's not getting hot, and then my cooling fans aren't turning on, and I'm just boiling water in a block. So unfortunately that's been going on for quite some time now. I've been doing my best to fill it up, but I think I may have hurt it. So I'm gonna go grab the pressure tester, put some pressure on this thing, see what we can figure out. So when I left my job at the dealership, obviously there was a few things I didn't have access to anymore. There was the lift, the tire machine, all those little things you take for granted when you're a technician. But I've managed to find my way around those. But this right here is one of the things that I could not do without. This is a pressure tester and vacuum filler. You guys remember the big block Miata? There was no way to fill that cooling system conventionally. I had to jack it up and use vacuum to pull that system down. So I've got my adapter installed on the filler neck. Let's put this thing on there and see if it still works. I don't actually know that I've ever used it. Maybe I don't have it down all the way. Yep, that might have something to do with it. Guys, a little tip, if you're in the garage using your cooling system pressure checker, make sure you screw the lid on all the way because it probably makes a difference. All right, so let's go back to pumping. 14, so right there, I'm at 14 PSI. I'm gonna hold it right there for a minute, not wiggle the hose too much and see if it bleeds off. It's holding at 14 PSI, so I'm confident my system's fine. I mean, I've got some crappy hoses. When I pressurize it, you see them swell, but I'm good with that. All right, so what I wanna do is dig through this kit and see if we have a checker for the caps. To be honest with you, now that I look at it, I don't think I have a checker for that. No checker here. That only leaves us one thing to do. I went to the parts store and got myself a new radiator cap. So it's really not even worth buying the adapter to test it when these things are $5 a piece. So what I got is a CarQuest or Stan or whatever brand it is, but is a 20 PSI cap. It's a bit more than factory. I like running the higher pressures. I don't want to give away all my tricks, but the big block Miata actually did not like burnouts. Wide open throttle at 3 and 4 minutes was kind of hard on the cooling system. What I actually did is I had a 22 PSI cap in that thing, and I made sure all my hoses were clamped, some of them double clamped, just to make sure it can handle the pressure. That's how I kept that boiling point down and kept that car alive as long as I did. All right, so we're just about ready for the big guns. When I say big gun, I'm talking about this guy right here, the vacuum filler. This is what makes it so much easier than just watching the fluid level and hoping you got enough in there. With this, you don't have to think twice about it. So once I get this thing set up, essentially what I'm doing is putting the cooling system under a vacuum, and then it pulls the coolant in itself, like it draws the coolant in. So it's pretty cool. It's gonna be a bit loud though. Also like to use this as a second chance to check it for leaks, because if you start losing vacuum, you know you got some kind of issue. It's holding nice and steady, and I'm gonna call that long enough for that test. So I've got a 2nd gallon of coolant ready. So I'm gonna let it draw the first one in there, keeping an eye on it, then we'll pop the other one in there and let it feed from that. So we'll top off a little bit of this tap water here. We got some really good tap water here in Florida. Alright, so I'm gonna pop a cap on it. Alright, looks like everything's connected. We've got it filled. Let's see what happens. Gotta remember the wife's car is behind mine. That could get bad. So I've had it running for a few minutes. So far, it looks like it's warmed up the block. And the upper hose is not warmed up yet, which is concerning. So this thing's either got a problem with an air pocket, or we have some underlying issues. So it's getting late though. I think I'm gonna shut it down and pick it back up tomorrow and see what happens. And just like that, it is tomorrow. So what I'm gonna do now is fire this thing up and see what it does. With a little more heat, we may take it out and abuse it a little bit. First thing I noticed is the reservoir is not low. So I wanted it to take more coolant out of the reservoir, but it didn't. But maybe that means it was that close. So who knows? We're gonna give it a shot. Since I can't seem to get the truck warmed up, I'm gonna take it down the road and beat on it a little bit and see what it does. No matter how long I let it idle, it's just under warm. It's a nice day for a test drive, right? My gauge is climbing up. So that really got us nowhere. So far all I've established is still when you give it RPM or in the upper RPM range, it gets hot. So it leads me to believe there's one of two things left to look at. I don't have a leak, so it must be a flow issue. So either I got a thermostat stuck closed or a water pump that's impeller's gone, which that water pump's not that old. So I'm thinking we might have a stuck thermostat. So I'm gonna go out there and do some temp reading with my gauge and see what it shows me. So it's definitely something going on here. When I measure the engine, I'm showing about 257. When I measure the radiator, those things should be about the same temperature, so something's definitely up. So what I'm going to do first is the cheapest thing, and that's the thermostat. We're going to swap it out real quick, see if that makes a difference. If not, looks like we're buying a water pump. So I've already gone to the parts store and picked up a new thermostat, but for scientific purposes, we're going to boil the old one and see what happens. I currently have 150. Oh no, I fogged up the lens a little bit. So we're just over 200 degrees in our pot of water right now. So I'm carefully going to take the thermostat and place it in the water. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't see it moving. It's not opening. That wax on the back side of these things is supposed to expand, forcing that valve open, but there is nothing happening here. This thing is not even trying, and it's over 200 degrees right now. So I guess that settles it. So what I gotta do now is clean up my gasket surface and pop our new thermostat in there and take it for another test drive. So I just finished rinsing everything off. I'm gonna give it a couple of minutes to warm up, then we'll take it back down the road again. All right, let's take this this bad boy for a test drive one more time, see if we got it fixed now. I'm pretty confident we did, but you got to be sure about these things. So I'm pretty much going to take the same course I took last time, see what it does. Maybe go a bit further if it's not overheating this time. So far, so good. So other than my insane amount of displacement, there's one thing that makes this truck's engine better than any Lightning out there, and that's this right here. Oh yeah, she's got popcorn in the pipes. Man, I love the way this truck sounds. So far we've installed a $5 radiator cap. We set it up to 20 PSI to handle a little more pressure. We put a $8 thermostat in it and a $2 gasket and about 20 bucks worth of coolant. I do believe that did the trick. So thankfully we don't have to pull the water pump. Because I gotta be honest with you, if I was gonna pull the water pump out of this truck, it's probably gonna be time for a little bit more cam. But we don't have to worry about that just yet. We can keep focusing on the Project Ethel because we gotta make some headway. I've got one more little project I'm gonna try to get done before I go down for surgery though, so that'll be the next video, but that's gonna be all of this one, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.